Hey everybody, it's Joric. Welcome back. Hope you're doing great wherever you are in the world. Got some travel tips for Lisbon, Portugal, and these are the 10 don'ts I have if you're going to be coming to Lisbon. Want you to be aware of them and just make sure that you add these into your travel plans and some of your tips when you're going to be visiting here in Lisbon, Portugal. So first things first, skipping local dining for tourist traps. Yes, you're going to go on TripAdvisor and other sites, and there's going to be these top 10 restaurants to go to, and some of them are legitimately great restaurants, and you should go to them. But local dining, little Toscas, or they're called snack bars, where you're going to get traditional Portuguese food, I would try those. They're much like maybe comparative to a diner back in the United States or in Canada, but it's typical Portuguese food, prato de dias, plates of the day. Try them out. Also, something that I want to make sure that you're aware of, when they put bread and olives and butter and those things on the table, the covert on the table, that stuff's not free. You are paying for that. So you may just not realize that you have 3, 4, 5 euros in fees on the covert that you ate, and you didn't realize. You thought they dropped it off and it was free. It's never free. There is actually a seafood restaurant, which is sort of ironic. It serves seafood, but a high-end seafood place here that what they put on the table for you is like 25 euros in covert, which when you sit down, you think is free, and none of it's free, but you're there for seafood, not for bread and butter and olives and other things. So just be aware of that. So that's one of the big don'ts. Do the local dining. Don't do the tourist trap places if you can avoid it. Also, a don't, ignoring public transportation. Lisbon has really good transportation compared to many other cities around the world. I think they do an excellent job here. So buses, they run and they run on time. The subway, the metro, it works, it runs on time, can get you all over the city depending on what color line you want to work on. It can get you to most places, not all, but most places. It's very affordable too. Also taking trams. They have the old trams that you can take around the city. So ignoring public transport in lieu of, let's say, Uber or a taxi, don't do that. Make sure you're trying public transport, because you may be surprised how efficient and how cheap it really is. Also, another big don't, underestimating the hills. Lisbon is built on 7 hills, much like the 7 hills of Rome. The hills here are very slippery when it's wet out, and they're steep, and they take more out of you than what you believe, what you think they're going to, especially in the summertime. There may be some areas where there's a couple hundred steps to get up to a top, like a Miradoro or an overlook. It can be very tough on you. So for those of you that may have mobility issues, I want you to be aware of that. 2, make sure that you have some really comfortable and good shoes, some tennis shoes that you're using to get around the city. So making sure that's something that a lot of people don't think of. They think of the beautiful hill, or they think of the beautiful photographs and whatnot. They don't realize how hilly Lisbon is until their feet start throbbing at the end of the day and their hips start hurting. So something to be aware of. Don't underestimate the hills. Next is overlooking lesser known neighborhoods. So Alvalade, Campo de Ourique, you have Belém and the Baixa and Alfama, which everyone goes to, and they're very nice and they're beautiful, and you certainly should go to them. But going to some other places like even Estrela, where we live, Estrela, Campo de Ourique, Alvalade, go to some places that are a little outside of the main tourist trap area. Príncipe Real is a great area, but it's also touristy. Great restaurants there, but also, again, a little too touristy for our taste. Check out some lesser known places for sure. Also, another don't, not learning some basic Portuguese. So hola, similar to Spanish for hello, obrigado or obrigada. If it's a male, it's always obrigado. If you're a female, it's always obrigada for thank you. There's a few things that you can say, and some of the language is similar to Spanish, but knowing a few phrases is really important, and I think it goes a long ways to endearing yourself to the local Portuguese, the shop owners, and the workers. So just learn something. So don't come here and just expect everyone to know English. Not everyone does. Missing out on day trips. So this is something that some people, when they come to Lisbon, they want to get through 10 places in a day. But thinking of places like Sintra, Cascais, that's an area. Going north to a place that we really like going is Bombarral, Irasierra, getting outside the city, doing a day trip to Alentejo, to Évora, do some wine tasting, getting out of the city. Think about some day trips. When you're just focused on Lisbon, it's great, and if you have limited time, it's what you got to do. But if you have a few days, not taking those day trips, I think you'll regret it. So just think about that. Also, a don't is, not respecting local customs and etiquette. And really the biggest thing is from 3 to 7, many of the restaurants close. Most of the shops are going to be open. So if you're shopping or you're doing some retail therapy or retail vacation, you can go find that stuff to go shop. But generally, many places between 3 to 7 are closed. Little snack bars, Toscas, are usually open. But like many restaurants are going to close, open up again at 7. So just be respectful. Just realize those are the rules. Most other places are going to be open. There's lots of places to still be able to eat between 3 and 7. So don't think that you can't. It's just some restaurants, you have to be aware of that. Just realize also with the etiquette and the customs, not everything opens on time. Not everything closes on time. So if you're going to go someplace that says it opens at 8 o'clock, that doesn't mean it's going to open at 8. If a place closes at 10 p.m. at night, it doesn't mean that if you go at 9:30, it might already be closed. Or you might go at 11 and it's still open. The hours are just reference points here. Public services are very adamant, like 8 to 5 or, with their lunch break and whatnot. But restaurants, things that you're going to visit as a tourist, they're reference points. So don't get upset if you show up at 8 and no one's there and they don't open till 8:30. It's just the way it is. Also, visiting only during the summertime. And I'll say that it's the most packed in the summer. It's when most amount of people have the most amount of time off throughout the world, so they come and visit in the summer. We like visiting places in the shoulder or off season. Now, I will say in the off season here, it's a lot of rain, a lot more rain, so I don't know if I recommend that. But maybe the September, October, maybe the March, April might be a better option than coming July, August, where you're going to deal with a lot of people, a lot of traffic, and it may just be more frustrating than exhilarating as far as your experience here in Lisbon. Then also another don't is don't be loosey-goosey with your valuables. I say this in any travel tip video that I make about places that you go. Make sure that you have specific valuables, your wallet, or if you have a small purse, your phone, keep it in the front pocket. Don't put it in your purse when you're walking. Don't put it in your backpack. I've had too many stories of locals and friends that live here as well as tourists where things have been stolen. If you're carrying a backpack, it's too easy for someone to be able to unzip and take something out. But there are theft-resistant backpacks you can buy with hidden pockets and things like that can make it more difficult or impossible for someone to take unless they take your full backpack. Purses, I would wear a crossbody, not on just one shoulder. Crossbody. You can also buy purses that have theft resistance. So although it may not be trendy, it doesn't look like a Louis that you're walking around with, but it's something that is going to keep your valuables, your passports and stuff safe, slash resistant, and like maybe with some hidden pockets or some locking zippers to where. Make sure, again, if you're traveling here, you don't want to have to spend a day at the embassy getting an emergency passport or having to contact all your credit card companies to cancel credit cards. That's not the way you want to travel. So making sure that you're securing valuables. So neglecting to secure valuables is another don't. Please make sure that you do. And then lastly, this goes into the respect and the etiquette of the people here is that when you're looking at opening and closing hours, this goes back to the hours thing, and they're just a reference. Go to their website if they have one. Go to their Facebook page if they have one, their Instagram page, and their Google page. Check multiple places to see what their hours are. Because here's what's interesting. You may want to go to a coffee shop to get a cafe, and they may have a different hour on Facebook opening, different on Instagram, different on Google, different on you name it. That's something that is just, it can frustrate you here, but making sure if all of the places that you would go to find them show 9 a.m. is when they're going to open, then there's a good chance at 9 a.m. they're going to be open. But often when you're going to go to places, it'll say 8:30, 9, it'll say 7:30, and they may not open till 9. It's just learn to be okay with it. Or just walk a couple blocks to the next coffee shop or snack bar and get something to eat there. Generally speaking, at night, when restaurants open at 7 or 7:30, they're really good about opening on time because they have to get so many people served throughout the course of their meals at night, and they have sometimes set schedules where you can only be at a place for a couple of hours before they want you gone to get somebody else in. But just be respectful about that, and also don't lose your, you know what, if you go someplace and they're not open. It's Portugal, and sometimes the opening and closing hours really don't mean anything. Just sort of go with it and let it roll off your shoulder. If you go someplace and they're not open that day, or the hours are different than what they show on their website or their Google page. That's it for Lisbon. Enjoy it. There's so many great things to do and take in here. Some great food, some amazing attractions, and excellent day trips to get out of the city and get in to see some more, what I would call more authentic Portugal if you have the time to do it. As always, thank you so much for watching, and enjoy your travels.